Just a reminder, this conference is being recorded. Good group today, nice crowd. Thank you for coming back. Sounds like we had a pretty decent weekend. So happy Monday to everyone. So as you know, we'd like to start with a quote. So our quote of the week comes from the initials WC. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Said from someone with the initials WC. Any ideas who WC is? Who does WC stand for? Any ideas? Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. So I think this message applies, this quote applies not only to business, but other parts of our life as well. I think I mentioned to you last week, I keep a vision board up in my office, in my bedroom too. But I keep a vision board with a bunch of quotes. And this is one of the quotes that I have up there, because I think it applies not only to business, but our lives as well. Jason, nice job. Winston Churchill. Yes, Winston Churchill. Very influential British, UK leader, Winston Churchill. You get a chance, look him up. I think I can provide a link to his biography if you want to read about him as well. If you probably all heard of, if you want to check out Wikipedia, his Wikipedia page isn't bad. It's actually very informative. Yeah, I know you got to be careful what you read online these days, but his Wikipedia page about him is actually very good. So check that out. But I really like that quote a lot. So we'll get into the agenda for today. So welcome back. Hopefully you had a chance to do the welcome forum. So the welcome forum was due last night. I didn't get a chance to check yet how we did with that, but I read a lot of your your welcome, your introductions. Thank you very much for sharing. It was great to learn a little bit about you and about what your goals are for your education and your courses as well, and a little bit about your background and your hobbies too. So thank you for those that did it. I think I graded most of them. Like I said, it was sort of an easy 100 as long as you completed what I asked for. It was an easy 100 grade. I know some of you had some trouble submitting it and you sent it to me offline. So I just want to let you know that even though I like to get all work done on time or early if possible, you can always, so I shouldn't say always, but if you ever have trouble with an assignment or you need help or you need assistance with it, I'd rather see you take the additional time to get it done than not do it at all. So if that means an extra few hours, if that means an extra day, I don't normally go past 2 days unless it's an emergency or something, but I'd rather see you do the work than not do the work at all. So maybe the welcome forum. So if you see the welcome forum up on Canvas, but you can't submit your answer to it because it ended last night, 11:59 p.m., then at least you can see what it is and you can send that to me afterwards to at least get partial credit. You know, to be fair to everyone who handed it in on time, you won't get full credit for it, but I'd rather give you credit. I'd rather see you do the work than not do the work at all. And that applies to almost any course I teach. Now, that it doesn't work that way so much for the exams, which we are on a kind of a deadline and you get additional time for. But other work, I'd rather see you do the work, take the additional time, especially if you need help or assistance with it. I'd rather see you get that help and assistance rather than not hand it in. Okay, so just to put that up there. I did put a new assignment up, a new document for you to read up in our module section. I apologize if you hear my puppy behind us. I did put up a new document that's going to apply for a future assignment that you're going to have due. So let me show you that real quick. We'll bring that up here. So if you're in our course on Canvas and you're in the module section, which we are right now on the screen, if you scroll down and you'll see you're welcome, introduce yourselves, assignment was due yesterday. That's there. Your chapter 1 assignment is due this coming Sunday. All right, that's there for you. Your module 2 is now open with a PowerPoint for that chapter. And your chapter 2 assignment is due the middle of next week. You know, actually, I might extend that chapter 2 assignment date out because we're working on chapter 1 this week. We're actually not starting chapter 2 till next Monday. So I might push that to the following Sunday. So I'll let you know. I'll make sure I want to give you time to complete your work. So I'll put an email out there and I probably will extend that date. But important right now in module 2 is this packet I mentioned last week, the student success packet. And this is a PDF that I give you a link to, and I'm hoping you're gonna download it, and you click on the link, you can read it online, or you can download a copy for yourself. So this is called Succeeding in This Course, but it really could apply to any course or any part of your education. So I actually borrowed this document from a professor that I was taking during my master's program. And he presented this to us in the beginning of class. And it's full of tips and helpful hints. And to give you some, general good practices, for lack of better words, in being successful in your courses, in your education. So you can view it online, or you can download a copy and keep a copy for yourself. I would either print it out and keep a hard copy, or just download it as a PDF and keep it on file somewhere. But the important part of this as well is that I need you to read this. So I opened it up this week. Next week, I'm going to open up the assignment questions that apply to this. And there's only 4 or 5 questions that you're going to answer about this document, but it's important that you do that. There is a pretty good grade that's tied to this. So that assignment's going to be opened up for you next week. And then the following week, we're going to discuss the questions. We're going to discuss the student success package. So kind of in 3 parts. Need you to read this PDF packet. When the assignment opens up, you'll answer the questions, and then we're going to discuss it in class after. Any questions about the modules or Canvas? And while I'm here, I'm going to put a poll question up. I know we touched on this last week, and it's okay if you're not sure. I'm going to put a quick question up in the poll. So it's just a yes or no questions. And I want you to be as open and comfortable as you can be with any questions you might have, any concerns you might have about this course, about Canvas, about our college in general. Even though this is recorded, this is among our group here. But are you familiar with accessing the e-text version of our textbook, or would you like me to kind of run through it again here? So I'll give you a second for the response there. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, we got almost a really good group today as well. I will take attendance in a few minutes, and I'll take attendance again before we leave. So thank you all for being here. Thanks for coming back and joining me on this Monday. A beautiful day out, I know. So let me take you through the steps again to access the e-text version of our book. So let's kind of start from the beginning on Canvas. Let's start from, if you join our course on Canvas, you're going to start off on the home page on Canvas. And please ask questions along the way. I got chat up. I'll try to multitask as well. If I don't get to your question right away, just don't worry. I know it's up there. I'll try to get to it as soon as I can. So you're going to start on Canvas on the home page. All right. And our textbook, which could be, hopefully it's a good thing, was included with your cost of registration for the class. So you paid a fee. It wasn't as much as you would have paid for the whole retail version of our textbook, but you did pay a fee, just full disclosure, and it gave you access to our textbook, an e-text version of our textbook on day one. So when you joined our class and you found our course on Canvas, it'll take you to this homepage. So from the homepage, you want to click modules. You click modules. Every module will open up that's available to you on Canvas. So right now you have module 1A, which has our syllabus, our outline, and some tips on Canvas on there as well. You want to scroll down past that module to the second module called eText and MyLab. Click below to access. So you want to open modules, go to the second module, go to the module called eText and MyLab, click below to access. There's a link down there, maybe with a funny name, but it's called Vital Source Course Materials. So Vital Source Course Materials. Now, Vital Source is the company that links our Canvas course to the digital bookshelf for Pearson or for eCampus. So Vital Source is the bridge between our course and accessing our textbook. So I'll send out, once you click on that link, I'll send out instructions on this too. You should see this window. Yeah, Trevor, you did it through Vital Source? Let me run through this first. Interesting. Has anyone been successful with this yet? Because so to get to our, let me finish this up. Yeah, I tested it. Even this, obviously, I tested it before we started. But when you open this, click on the Vital Source link, it should open this page. So this is basically showing us the digital bookshelf for our text in Pearson or eCampus. So to view our textbook, you want to just click Read Now. So you just want to click Read Now. And that should open up a new window for you. And it should be our textbook should pop up for you, the digital version of our textbook. Yeah, Trevor, maybe I'll update with you. Maybe I'll follow up with you after this class as well. And anyone else that might have trouble, I'll send you directions, steps on doing it. You might have to be signed into Pearson to access the textbook, but I thought we got rid of that. Let me check on that. Yeah, there's a couple different ways to do it. This should be the easiest and fastest way for you. Everyone should have access through our Canvas shell. I checked this link. This was open to everyone. This wasn't just a professor. This was a student link. So I don't know why there's some people that have trouble. I can't. Oh, thank you, Nicholas. This is a great point. If you don't have the Chrome browser, And normally I like to try to make things as easy as possible, but I know the Chrome browser helps this process go a lot smoother. Yeah. So I want to help troubleshoot. If this doesn't work for you, please let's troubleshoot it, today and tomorrow and make sure you're up and working. So please do me a favor, email me after the class. Trevor, just shoot me an email after the class as well. And if you can send me a screenshot of what you're seeing, that helps me a lot. All right, not trying to make it too difficult for you. I want to just help you just make this as easy as I like things to be turnkey and efficient. So I want to make it as easier for you as I can. So once you hit read now, you should see a screen similar to this. There's the cover of our textbook. And it's kind of easy to operate once you're in here. Once you get familiar with it, you can click the right arrow on the bottom to flip through pages. You can close this menu, but you can go to certain sections in the book by clicking on the contents, clicking on individual sections. And you can also bookmark. Let's say I wanted to stay in the cover page. I'm going to bookmark this page. So when I come back here, it'll be here for me. Yeah, Jason, thank you for that, because I thought there was a way to get around having you sign up for Pearson, but you might have to set up a Pearson account first. Yeah, and Ashlyn, thank you as well because I know there's a second way or even a third way to access your textbook for the course, because it's once you registered, you pay that fee, and it should have allowed you access from anywhere to it. So does that make sense? So that's the textbook. Now, there is a supplement included with almost all business courses and a lot of courses that have Pearson, and it's called MyLab. Now, MyLab is an optional supplement. I use MyLab in our course, but mostly to bring videos to you, to bring links into our classroom. I don't ask you to go into MyLab to do any work. So you don't have to access MyLab. But MyLab could be a good study guide for you. It could be good practice for exams. It could be good practice for concepts and definitions. It's got some great stuff in there. So how do you access MyLab if you want to explore that? Well, you would do the same thing, the Vital Source course link, and you would hit Launch Courseware. And I'm not going to do that right now because it opens up another new window, but you want to do Launch Courseware, and then it gives you a list of options in that. Okay, but that's an optional component for you. I would recommend it because it gives you kind of new case studies. It gives you further details on concepts that we learn in the classroom. But it's optional. Any questions about any of that right now? The e-text, again, besides not having access, please send me an email, and and a screenshot of your problem. We'll pass that along and get that worked out for you. Any questions about that? Any questions about the homework? All right, thank you for that. Let me go back. So I think it was great what you guys did for the introductions and the welcome forums. What I sometimes do as well, if you want a chance to either, that's my background. If you want a chance to share a little bit about yourself, your nickname, what you'd like to be called, an appropriate nickname, right? Something that is professional or, that is appropriate for the classroom. If you want to share a little bit about yourself now, I want to give you that option either in the chat, or if you want to jump on video, if you like screen time, you want to come up and say a few words, you can do that as well. But if you want to share a little about yourself in the chat now, I know you did it in the forum. I read the forum. That was great. I graded most of them. It was awesome learning about some of your backgrounds, the business classes you had in high school, some of you from the local technical schools, some of you returning to college, which I think is awesome. I've done that several times in my life. A lot of you are business majors. Some of you are accounting majors. Some of you are going for supply chain management, which is great. That's a newer degree that we added to our business management major. So a concentration of business management is now supply chain management. And something that's really important, especially in this day and age, with COVID and everything going on in the world, supply chain has become that much more important and that much more prevalent. Even though supply chain has always been important, now it's kind of came to the forefront. So some of you are into marketing, which I think was great. But some of you come from different disciplines, biology and science and sociology, which is great as well. I think business core, especially introduction to business, can apply to any part of our life. It just doesn't have to be your degree or your major or your goals. It can apply to any part of our life. But some of you are already starting a business. Some of you want to start a business. So this is a great way to kind of segue into that as well. So if you want to share a few minutes now with the class, if you put it up in the forum already and the class can read your forum, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you feel like throwing some things up in there in the chat now, please feel free. And we can, if not, we'll move on. And thank you all for participating in the forum. I really enjoy that part. Usually when we're in the classroom, we do kind of mini interviews with each other, but I think that's also doing it online. It's a great way to kind of learn about each other and for me to get an idea of where you're at, your education and professional as well. All right, so quick introduction into this chapter. China has moved away from a socialist towards a free market economy termed socialist market economy. Alibaba accounts for 80% of China's online shopping. China's population 1.4 billion, and this was a little while ago. Jack Ma was the founder and owner of Alibaba. How many of us have heard of Alibaba? Oh yeah, Connor. Yeah, try leaving and coming back, sure. Yeah, if you have technical issues, feel free to jump off and then sign back in. Remember, we're recording this, so if you need to come back and view it later, I have to remember to take attendance. So thank you all for showing up today. We have a great group today. Oh, Catherine used to own stock? Own a stock for them. Okay, wow. Alibaba is huge, right? It's the sort of the international version of Amazon. I've bought sample products from Alibaba, not from Alibaba directly. How does that work? I've gotten things supplied through Alibaba, and then we've gone on with our companies to order from them. So yeah, pretty incredible. And if you know a little bit of the backstory about Jack Ma, so Jack Ma actually decades ago came to the US, and maybe this is in your textbook. I can't remember the case study I brought to the class. It was maybe in your textbook, so please read it if you can. Jack Ma came to the US a few decades ago to understand business, to understand the market economy, to understand commerce. And at the time he was here, I guess it was maybe mid-90s. It was the start of the internet. And he brought those concepts and he brought that technology and that understanding, back to China with him. And then he started a small network, a small group of businesses, suppliers that worked together. And then from there, that that blew up, and that grew as the internet grew. That grew as well. So pretty amazing story. Very similar to Jeff Bezos, right? The founder of Amazon. But you talk about Amazon started as it goes, and I guess Jeff Bezos talks about this himself, but in the garage in a warehouse selling books was the start of Amazon, and then expanded from that. But it's interesting when you look at business that started in the US economy and a business that started in China. So we're going to talk about different economic systems and how they impact business and what that means for business too. So that's a really good segue into this chapter. So before we jump into the chapter, let me do a little introduction of the chapter, what we're going to be talking about in this chapter. Some learning objectives for the chapter. We'll define the nature of U.S. business, describe external environments, describe different types of global economic systems, show how markets, demand, and supply affect resource distribution, talk about different degrees of competition. We'll talk about different economic environments, and then also economic systems as well. So let's start with one of our main definitions for the chapter, one of our main concepts, which is business. What is business? So in our main definition, it's an organization that provides goods or services to earn profits. So the main goal of any business is to make a profit. Without that profit, the businesses can't grow. The business can't continue. The business can't pay their employees, right? So the main goal of any business is to make a profit. And we can even say that about different types of businesses. I won't get into that right now, but we have to understand what a profit is, right? The profit is just the difference between revenue and the company's expenses and the business expenses. So what they make compared to what they have to pay out, right? What their expenses are. So profit is very important. But I put down there as well, what do businesses provide besides profit? I mentioned one of them while I was talking about it. And if you read ahead in the chapter or you read ahead in the PowerPoint, it's fine as well. You can answer this too. Or even just from your own thoughts, what do businesses provide besides profits? What do they provide? What do they provide people? What do they provide for their country? Trevor, nice job. Yeah, Ed. I'm not sure if it's Ed or Edward, but I like them both. Edward, jobs, sure. Businesses provide jobs, right? They provide employment. Yes. Businesses provide the goods we use, the products we use, the services, sure. What else do businesses provide? And we'll go through this on the next slide, so it's okay if you don't. I'll let you examples, Ryan. So, maybe this goes more towards what do businesses, besides jobs and employment income, What else are they providing? My puppy's trying to get into the so, like we said, and thank you for contributing. Businesses provide most of the goods and services that we use, that we consume, employment. They also provide innovation and opportunities for new business. They can support social causes. They can support nonprofits, charities. Businesses can also provide community support itself. They can provide leadership in communities. So we understand that business is important, and the ability to make a profit is important as well. Because businesses wouldn't be able to continue to function without a profit, right? Without that difference between revenue and expenses. So we realize that any type of business operates inside an environment. And there are factors in the environment around the business, the external environment, that impact the business. So when we say that external environment, we talk about anything outside an organization's boundaries that might affect it. And all businesses operate within some type of environment. So it's the next question, the next bullet point that's there on the slide. How does the environment, or what types of environment, impact the success or failure of a company? How would the environment play a role in the success or failure of a company? Any thoughts on that, or any thoughts on what type of environments that might be? Any thoughts on that? How does the environment that surrounds the business, how does it impact the business? Tell you what, while you're thinking of that, I will take attendance. Oops. One more. Take a little breather for a second here while I record attendance. We have a good group today. Oh, I missed one person. See that? All right. Gravel, so weather conditions. All right, so the actual environment itself, sure. Definitely weather conditions could impact a business. Competition could be an environment that impacts a business. Definitely, yes. Yes. You know, yeah, seasons, holidays, seasons are different types of environments that can impact a business as well, sure. And I'll give you 5 or 6 different types of environments, and we'll see where these fit in there. So if you have this diagram, I think this is up in your textbook as well. So just have an idea of these 6 types of environments, and we'll talk about in the next couple of slides what they mean. You don't have to record all the, you don't have to write down all the definitions of them, but just have an idea of what these environments are, what these 6 are. So your economic environment, your technological environment, your socio-cultural environment, your domestic business environment, the global business environment, and then your political legal environment. So let me give you a little background on each of these. But like I said, just know what these 6 are. You don't necessarily have to know exactly these word for word. All right, but your domestic and business environment, this could be your local competition, right? The environment in which a firm conducts operations and derives revenue. So this could be your local competition. If you're a brick and mortar store, so we're ShopRite in Newton. You know, who's in our domestic business environment? You're ShopRite in Newton. Who's in your domestic business environment? You know, who's your local competition? Well, Wise, right? Maybe Walmart. Maybe the local farmers market could be in competition with ShopRite, right? But for an online store, an online component, how does that change? If we're an online seller, what type of business environment would we be in if we're an online seller, for the most part? Yeah, tech, sure. Global, yeah, global. Yes, we're an online seller. Most likely, we're going to be available. We're going to have opportunity in multiple countries, in multiple locations beyond domestic. Sure. Now you can be a brick and mortar store, right? Best Buy, Walmart, McDonald's, global. They operate in global business environments. They operate on a domestic level as well, but they operate on a global level too. Sure. The technological environment, so ways by which firms create value for their constituent, so value for their customers, that might be the online setting, just like Dominic was saying too. That could be the online setting where online we add value to their purchase. We add value to their service as well. But there could be some technological components in the brick and mortar store as well, in person as well. It doesn't have to be necessarily online. So the other half of this, the political legal environment. How does the new government rules or government policies impact your business? Well, what could be a policy that's in place now that's affecting local businesses, or not just local businesses, but affecting any businesses? What could be a policy happening now that's part of this political legal environment that's going to be impacting business? Taxes is a great one. Yeah, taxes definitely. Yeah, taxes are kind of all encompassing. I was thinking more on a kind of a real world example of something happening now, that these different policies and policy changes could be impacting restaurants. They could be impacting concerts. Yeah, masks and coronavirus, sure. You know, capacity for occupants, so occupant capacity, maximum capacity limits, masks being worn or not. And aren't some places in New York now, we don't get too much into this, but aren't there some places asking for proof of vaccination as well? That could be a major environmental change that impacts business, right? But a minimum wage is a great, especially on a national level, a macroeconomic level. So taxes on a macroeconomic level, minimum wage on a macroeconomic level, sure. Yeah, but even though some individual states have different minimum wage standards as well. Oh, Ashlyn's going to a concert tonight. Well, I'll talk about real world that's requiring proof of vaccination. That's pretty interesting. I wasn't sure most places were doing that yet, but I guess some are. A little jealous that you're going to a concert, but that's pretty cool. So that's political legal, very important. I apologize, my puppy's in the background. I usually try to give us a break, 4 to 5 minute break after talking for 25, 30 minutes to break up our session a little bit. So let me get through this and we'll take a quick few minute break. But sociocultural environment includes customs, mores, values, and demographic characteristics of society, and determines the business standards that a society is likely to value and accept. So sociocultural, right? Different values of a country, different values of society are going to impact business and how you conduct business, and maybe even what you sell or what services you offer. And this next one's going to lead into our next couple of slides. The economic environment includes relevant conditions that exist in economic system in which a company operates. So this is very important, this economic environment. Includes relevant conditions that exist in economic system in which a company operates. So when we talk about economic system, what are we talking about? Well, what we're really talking about is how a country or a nation, how it divides or allocates its resources among the people of that country. So you hear economic system, it's the way that could be a government. Most of the time it's the government, but a nation or a country allocates, and in planning how resources will be used or shared among its constituents, among its citizens, among its people. And that includes individuals or organizations. So I want to ask you the next question as well, but it's important that we realize these economic systems will vary depending on the host country. Let me jot that down. You can add that to this slide. I could type it in there for you as well, but I put it up in the chat. If I had a whiteboard, I'd write it behind me. The type of economic system will vary depending on the host country. All right, before we get into that a little bit, anyone have any ideas what we call these resources? What do we call these resources that are divided up among its users, among its people? Well, taxes are a way for countries, for governments to make revenue, which is part of this system. Yes, Edward, thank you. So taxes are a way, but what do we call these different types of resources? You might have heard this before. They're factors of production. And sure, and so products would be part of these factors of production. Products are what we're going to get after we combined the factors of production. We're going to get products and services. just have an idea of these 5 factors of production and have an idea of what examples of each are. So you don't have to write all of this down or you have to take notes on all of this, but have an idea of what these 5 factors of production are. And I highlighted a couple important points here. Labor is physical and intellectual contributions, also called human resources. So labor is going to be tangible and intangible contributions. I think I have that on another slide, tangible and intangible. Capital is not just money, but any type of financial resource used to help operate a business. So capital is the financial resources needed to operate a business. So the third factor there, the entrepreneur, this used to be a subset of labor. So entrepreneurship, entrepreneurialism, entrepreneurial spirit used to be a subset of labor. But it's so important and it's so meaningful that now it's its own factor of production. So a person who accepts risks and opportunities entailed in creating and operating a new business venture. So when you hear of this kind of person, do you have any examples that come to mind of a person that fits this definition? Maybe it could be a certain position in a company. What type of person would you want to have this entrepreneurial spirit? Or maybe there's an example of a person today that you think would fit this. CEO, Edward, yes, Ed. Ed, would you mind, not to put you on the spot, I can type it in if you want. Could you tell us what does CEO stand for? Or anyone else, what does CEO stand for? Definitely a CEO. Chief Executive Officer, yes. Nice job. Thank you all. Elliot and Quavo, yes. Chief Executive Officer. We want the leader of our business, right? To be able to explore new opportunities, to be able to take risks, to want to take risks. Now, we want them to do it in a way that doesn't compromise our business, doesn't compromise our profits or our jobs, right? We're hoping they do it in a smart way. But we also know there needs to be some risk in order for growth to happen. So Elon Musk, yes, I was thinking that, Dominic, thank you. That was in the back of my head like the whole time. But Elon Musk is an entrepreneur, right? He's a risk taker. He looks for opportunities. We could talk about Bill Gates. You could talk about Steve Jobs and his team from Apple, not just, there was other people involved there as well, but all entrepreneurs. Jeff Bezos as well. We think about, all the flights to outer space, whatever, there's 3 different companies that are, Elon Musk was there, and the other companies were there as well, taking those risks and looking for growth in any environment, which happens now to be outer space, right? They're looking for that. Let me get through this. We'll take a quick little break. Physical resources. So physical resources, we mentioned tangible. What do we mean by tangible? What's the difference between tangible and intangible? Any ideas there? Difference between physical resources are tangible. Most information is intangible. Anyone, any thoughts on what do we mean by difference between tangible and intangible? And we'll take a quick little break after this for a few minutes. So tangible is tangible, anything we can touch, right? We can feel. And Nicholas might be putting in there, yeah, so exactly, physical, has weight, has dimension, right? Yes, my family went to I couldn't make it to a minor league game, and my family brought back this cozy for me. Of course, my family knows me pretty well, right? Somehow from a minor league baseball game, they brought me a Yoda. What you call it, koozie or a cozy? Whatever you think for my bottle. But yeah, so it's tangible. Tangible. It's a tangible asset, right? Intangible. Could be data, information, knowledge. Could be intangible, right? So those are information resources. So the important part of the economic system is the use of the factors of production in that system. So economic systems vary depending on how we use the factors of production in that system, how the factors of production are managed. So there's different types of economic systems. I'm going to bring up the first one for you here, but why don't we take I'll put this up, a planned economy. Why don't we take a 4 to 5 minute break? I try to give you a break to stretch, or I'm going to stretch. You don't have to stretch. Just give you a chance to step away from the computer for a few minutes, or your phone, or wherever you're on. So let's take 3 or 4 minutes now. And we'll come back and we'll talk about just finish up the class on types of economic systems. I'll see you in 3 minutes. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed your little break. I think that was about 3 to 4 minutes. right? I'm trying to keep on track here. So we were talking about factors of production and how the economic system will vary depending on the use or the management of those factors of production. So one type of economic system is a planned economy. So an economy that relies on a centralized government to control all or most factors of production and to make all or most production and allocation decisions. So let me just do some editing on the fly here. Very important term here. All right, that could color yellow. So when you hear about this planned economy, an economy that relies on a centralized government, and they control all or most factors of production, right? So they're deciding which companies get to use different resources, the allocation of the resources, the types of companies that may even be available in this system or in this country. So when you hear planned economy, if this centralized government controls all, let's start with that. If the centralized government controls all the factors of production, what type of government would this be? Any ideas on that? If this government controls all the factors of production, so they want to control all the major businesses, they want to control all the major industries. And not only do they allocate the resources, but they also allocate profits as well. And let's go with that first for all. Communism. Communism, yes. So communism in the communist society, if that's in the communist country, they control all major factors of production. They control all major industries. Now, and Jonathan, thank you. And Dominic, if we said the government controls most factors of production, if the government controls most resources, that would be socialism. Yes, thank you. That would be socialism. Now, I think we realize we don't live in a socialist or communist. Well, some people could go either way on this, but we don't live in this country. You know, we don't live in a communism environment, economy. So a market economy, individual producers and consumers control production and allocation by creating combinations of supply and demand. So this type of economy would rely on blank and blank. Any ideas on that? Probably a couple of things that would fit into that equation. So individual producers and consumers control production allocation by creating combinations of supply and demand. This type of economy would rely on blank and blank. Yeah, buyer and seller would work there, I think, too. Yeah. This type of economy would rely on buying and selling. Sure. And this type of market, what is the system that would need to be in place for this to occur, for this to freely happen? What's the political basis, or what's the system that would need to be in place? If it's not communism, it's not socialism, we would need blank for this to happen. So it's not communism, it's not socialism, we need, I'll give you a chance to answer before I add this to myself. Just waiting for the chat typing to go. Oh, just wait. There's one more coming in. But yes, capitalism. Thank you. Yes, capitalism. Sure. Capitalism. We need capitalism, right, to facilitate the exchange between the buyer and seller, and this free exchange, this free enterprise system that encourages buying and selling for a profit, buying and selling to lead to innovation as well, to lead to opportunity. So it's important. Capitalism encourages entrepreneurship. So capitalism encourages entrepreneurship. But as I was alluding to just a little bit ago, if you got this, that a lot of countries, and maybe even the US, and we don't have to debate this or argue this, or we can, and maybe this is better for an economics class, but a market economy, capitalism thrives in a market economy. But the US and other countries, maybe even China, could be said that they're leading to, oh, I think I missed this once. We'll come back to that. So give me 1 second. Oh, I don't see. Sorry about this. 1 second. I skipped a slide myself. I'm going to type it in for you here. In my editing, I missed the slide. So a lot of the economic systems around the world, and maybe even we can say that the US is a combination of this too, is a mixed market economy. So it's characteristics of both the planned and the market economies. So we are capitalistic in nature. We believe in capitalism. But then occasionally, what do we need help from? Why might we be leaning more towards a mixed market economy? And not just us, but other countries around the world. We want entrepreneurship. We want to have this process of buying and selling, of free buying and selling. But why might you say, and we'll end on this today, why might you say we're moving, or we are in a sort of a mixed market economy? Because what do we need occasionally? Any thoughts there? We'll wrap up on this. Thank you for coming in today. Thank you for this class. Enjoy your Monday. I'll bring a quick puppy appearance on the way out. Thank you for the feedback about my puppy on the forums. It was great reading your forums. Yes, they're happy to see you too. Yes, government help. Yes, government, right? Government subsidies. I mean, everything, Social Security to unemployment insurance. If you're ever out of work, I've been there. I've had to collect unemployment insurance. We've needed help. We needed assistance because the economy doesn't always run smooth. We get more into this in economics, but the economy doesn't always run smooth. There's peaks and valleys. So the government assistance, the government subsidies help level the economy, right? Help keep us out of a depression, out of an extreme recession, which is a depression. All right, we'll say goodbye there today. My puppy's saying goodbye to you. You say goodbye. You've been a good girl. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming in today. Have a great rest of your Monday. Hoping to see you back here on Wednesday. We'll pick this up. We'll finish up chapter 1 on Wednesday. So thank you all. Enjoy your next couple days. Please email me if you have any questions. You need any help with anything, please just shoot me an email. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good class today. Well, hopefully we'll see you again on Wednesday. You too. Thank you.